Set it down. Set it down. Here's good. Hopefully that's the last of your cargo, because I'm not going back out there. At least not today. Well, good. I get some of this stuff, right? Good. I was gonna punch you in the face if I didn't. What do you mean I'm still catching my breath? You don't think I can swing one your way? Fine! There. Was that good enough for you? You got spunk, Twitchy. I'll give you that. Here, I'll grab us a snack. You look drained after that little workout. Your meal of the day, fried Nerf nuggets. Sorry if it's not warm enough. You could put it over the campfire. No, I'm not hungry right now. I already had a meal earlier. You eat up. Hey, I've been meaning to thank you for helping around here. At first, I thought you'd be some dead weight I'd have to drag along. But you've certainly proved me wrong. I'm being very serious. Mandalorians don't really joke around much. Okay, that time I was joking around, but not now. I really meant it. Now then, I guess it's time for another story. Are you paying attention? Good. This takes place a few years before the Mandalorian Wars. My father was a hunter. Before he became the head of my clan, he collected many trophies and went on many trips. On many occasions, he would bring me and my brother, Pitt, to seemingly empty planets. One particular system in the Outer Rim had large creatures, both predators and prey, though none of them would compare to the great mythosaurs. Sadly, I've never seen any mythosaurs. They are long dead. However, my grandfather did claim to have killed the last one. My grandfather was also injured in the head after the fight with a horn-headed Zabrak, and would usually recall standing on the surface of a dying star. No one really knows what he did. The creatures on the planet were massive. I'd say a lot bigger than a lot of starships. It'd take us weeks to hunt one of these things. Nobody ever gave them names. Of course, we nicknamed them like Icy, Seed, Hack, just to confuse a lot of the other hunters. But my family and I would know which name goes to which beast. One day, we spotted an Icy lumbering off with its kill, and we decided to prowl it. We followed it to a narrow ravine, then suddenly, clumsy Pitt spooked it by knocking over a loose stone. It drove the beast into a frenzy, and my father dropped on top of it. I was close behind and wrapped my arms around its neck. We must have tussled for over an hour. Then the Icy tripped, and Pitt managed to blind it. With one swing, I managed to cut its throat, and it stopped writhing. That was the prize that earned my name, the Beast Hunter. But it's in Mandoa. I'll teach you the language later. Should probably get some rest, huh? What's this? Hey, let me just see it! Oh. It sounds... Hey, Twitchy? All right, I'll give it back. It's quite a pretty trinket you got here. Is it a family heirloom? I noticed that hologram. Was she someone you cared for? Your mother? What happened? She died during the wars? You have my sincere condolences. I've experienced my own losses during the wars, so I can relate. No one can fault you for wanting to stay away from conflicts you don't support. I shouldn't tell you about the war. They aren't healthy for the ears of a civilian, even if you are a lowly smuggler. What? You really want to hear about the Mandalorian Wars? Didn't the Republic share enough information with its people? Wars are only good for destruction and villainy? Who taught you that rubbish? You really think war starts when negotiations fail? Diplomats and consulars never fight for their own countries, let alone touch a weapon. Of course, there are those that replace their weapons with words. But even they know that a war begins when someone has had enough and puts their foot down. And I am speaking from experience. The Republic didn't want to submit. They chose war. The same can be said now. With these new Sith empires rising and threatening the Republic and the rest of the galaxy. Those peace-loving Jedi know now to raise their shiny swords and defend themselves after the devastation we raised. And that's how wars are shaped. Even though hate and horror are ever present, the efforts of survival and preservation are through the acts of courage and determination. Because the survivors of the conflict come to understand their enemies more deeply. Their understanding evolves, and that is purpose enough. Let me tell you my story about how we fought in the wars, crusading throughout the galaxy and submitting millions beneath us. You'd have to understand, a warrior's life is to die in battle, against a greater adversary, or sacrifice themselves to save their fellow braves. We went out to conquer, to make order and thrust it down our enemies' throats. I swear, every planet seemed the same in the end, desolate, struggling with life, and war-torn. However, the Republic was a different story. Soldiers that sworn an oath to protect their homes and family within the Republic. Soldiers who risked it all just to face us in battle. Even the Jedi that came later, they went against their teachings and took up arms against us. That is what made the war possible and in turn saved the Republic. There was this one battle that always stood out to me during the war. We had recently taken control of the planet Hulan from the Republic. They put up a weak resistance, and we thought it to be over, but we were wrong. The Republic fleet has returned with much more battleships and cruisers. They burst through our blockade and started landing troops and war machines across all fronts. This bold counterattack caught us by surprise. This one large Republic cruiser charged through the blockade and opened up another hole in our defenses and battled my clan's flagship. That gutsy move from the captain even shocked my father, who was on the bridge. I watched from the ground as my clan and many others moved to dislodge the cruiser, while more and more Republic ships came out of light speed and charged through the blockade. 3 times they tried to board, but were repelled. Eventually, the auxiliaries managed to pierce the hull and subdue the crew.
For the Republic!
Twitch.
For Mandalore!
Twitchy.
For Clan Order!
Twitch! Are you alright? You looked as if you were going to hurl. Your hands are shaking like mad. What's wrong? Was it something I said? Oh, the story scared you, didn't it? I assume smugglers aren't accustomed to listening to war stories. Although, you didn't have a problem with the last one. Are you sure you only got scared? We can stop, you know. We don't have to delve into that if you're... All right, if you insist. Now, where was I? Yes. The Republic broke through our defenses. We looked on as the large shadows descended in the sky and saw that Republic troops began to drop from orbit and rode on these giant droid mounts, very much like our basilisks. It was a harrowing sight watching as our own tactics were being used against us. I was mesmerized. Just looking up towards the skies and seeing our enemies bearing down on you was awe-inspiring and bone-chilling. They had the high ground. You can never have the high ground against a Mandalorian. Mandalorians choose the level on which the enemy stands. The Republic quickly captured large swaths of land and kicked us out of the capital. However, we managed to reorganize and counterattacked. There was this one city that was fortified by the Republic and kept supplies from the fleet in orbit. After the fleet was dealt with, we moved on to assault the city. Many of the civilians were caught in siege. There was no honor in besieging a stronghold where soldiers hid among the civilian populace. The line between both is altogether skewed, and our weapons had no discrimination. It still sickens me to this day. Many days we bombarded that city to near ruin, but whenever we tried to scale those walls, the Republic beat us back. If ever we made 3 steps past the threshold, we would always be blasted back by grenades and withering blaster fire. Even our basilisk mounts were made worthless under the hail of plasma that erupted from inside that damn city. Believe me, whatever we tried didn't amount to anything. Our weapons couldn't seem to dislodge the Republic defenders. We assaulted the city for over 3 months. Finally, before we geared up for another attack, the garrison sent an envoy asking for a truce to negotiate. Our leaders reluctantly agreed. The envoy explained that the city was filled with wounded Republic soldiers and requested a ceasefire in order to evacuate them. A relief party set up an evacuation center far away from the fighting, and the city itself offered no safe landing zones. The majority of the clans refused this and sent them packing. We saw this as a weakness, and that the Republic defenders were just trying to save themselves. After another failed attempt to take the city, the messenger returned. He was persistent to the last. Many of our leadership was still reluctant, until one stepped forward. Vag Toa, leader of Clan Toa, offered an audience. He proposed that the Republic forces bring out 1,000 wounded to evacuate, and he boldly stated that if there were ever a soldier in those ranks that weren't wounded, the truce would be called out, and all 1,000 would be executed. The Republic complied and began bringing out their wounded. They were made to walk out on this one stretch of road to their evacuation center. I was ready to kill the first faker that I found, but as I watched, I became shocked by the visual of casualties. They were more than just battered and bloodied. Some looked like skeletons walking to their graves. Others looked like broken, shattered bodies, withering and twitching in pain. There was one particular soldier that limped on by himself. He had his chest puffed out in defiance and held his head up high. But his legs soon gave way. No one dared to help him. I strode over and picked him up. He barely weighed, anything. He was so malnourished that I had no problem carrying him in my arms, like a baby. Then he surprised me with a boast. He said, "On my planet, it's customary for the enemy to show his face to his opponent, so that eyes can reveal the nature of the soul." So, willing to accept his challenge, I obliged. I sat him down gently. I lent him my helmet for him to hold. I stared deep into his eyes. He wasn't shocked, or, if he was, he didn't show it. I could read anger, stress, and yet satisfaction from him. "You seem surprised yourself, Twitch." "Yes, this is what I look like. I am Chiss, and my kind is not really well known in the galaxy. Also, my family are not Chiss. My father and my brother Pit, as well as the rest of the clan, became my family when they found me alone, desperate, and clinging to life. Anyways, I carried that meager soldier to the relief area. He gave me back my helmet and asked weakly, did we at least put up a good fight? I said to him, even a wounded animal can bite off the hunter's hand, and you bit off the whole arm. His last words still resonate with me. He, on the verge of tears, simply said, "The deeds of warriors are honored. The deeds of soldiers are forgotten, unless it be an act of unordinary bravery. Remember my name, Mandalorian, if you have any dignity. His name was Porto Hardin, corporal in the Army of the Republic. I never saw him again. I don't even know if he survived his injuries. After that, I came to realize the differences between soldiers and warriors. One aims to perfect the battle and its execution, while the other perfects the survival through instincts, insight, and planning. And you know what? I am actually relieved that the Republic won the war. Judge me all you want, the other Mandalorians do. But after that damn planet burned, I got sick of the war. It was epic and glorious when we first started to conquer. Watching our enemies flee before us was entertainment. Fighting them with suicidal intent was a thrill. But the closer we got to the heart of the Republic, the more brutal their forces got, the bolder their tactics became. And that's not to mention once Revan and the Jedi got involved. I never got to face Revan in battle, but I have fought some Jedi, and they are strong and agile warriors with this magic. Like they were combined with the ability of the Ichani and the strength of Mandalorians. And then Malachor. Anyways, I have stirred up some bad memories. I am done talking about the war, at least for today. Let's say we get these crates open. I want to see my share of the spoils. Not bad, Twitchy. I'll take these clothes. Never know if I need to hide on a populated system. Or these may fetch a high price in a local market. What the? This is Mandalorian armor? Where the hell did you get this? Did you kill someone to get it? From that tailhead slime? He had this on his ship? Alright, I believe you, but if I find out that you looted this off of a grave, or worse still, killed the Mandalorian in cold blood, I won't hesitate to decapitate you in a second. Mandalorian armor is very sacred to my people, especially my clan. Not many other battlesuits can match it, and I know the Mandalorian who wore this. A close friend of mine, Drakon Miel. Last I heard, he was fighting the Republic and the Jedi on Malachor. I never took part in that. My clan took part in another engagement nearby. But I saw what happened on a hologram. That was one of the scariest sights I've ever seen throughout conflict. It wasn't natural. But I digress. I don't know how this scum Brazo got his dirty hands on this, especially from Malachor, of all places. But no Mandalorian would ever take off their armor, not even if they were dead. Only rare occasions when warriors need a break. I will teach you the ways of Mandalore. Why? Just so I can have you when we hunt down Brazo and his goons. And yes, we're going to kill him. Either me or you. Don't touch the armor. You haven't earned that yet. You need to train to fit that armor. Otherwise, the helmet will fall off easily. We'll start training in the morning. The night's setting in. I'll take first watch. Well, you didn't know you had that armor, so don't be sorry. You basically brought back armor to the Mandalorians. That's a noble deed right there. Get some rest, Twitchy. Pretty? Me? The campfire light doesn't show much of my face if you think I'm pretty. Say, can you play that little trinket? I like that tune. It's soothing. Sort of calms me. Thanks, Twitchy.